A Pomeranian came into my grooming shop last year. Absolute sweetheart on the table, but his owner looked like she hadn't slept in weeks. The neighbors were threatening to complain about the nonstop barking. She'd tried everything: training classes, puzzle toys, even a pet psychic, believe it or not, and nothing worked. That conversation changed how I think about bark collars for small dogs. My name is Jasmine Caldwell, and I've spent years working with vocal little breeds that think every shadow is a crisis. You're listening to the Pet Parent Podcast. Quick note before we jump in: everything you hear in this episode, the research, the advice, the real-world experience, that's all human, all verified, written by actual experts. The voice you're hearing, though, that's AI-generated, which lets us get these episodes to you faster, without sacrificing accuracy. Just wanted to be upfront about that. If you've been listening for a while, thank you for being here. It means a lot. And if this is your first episode, welcome. We drop new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, covering everything from gear to behavior to health. All right, let's dig into this one. Here's the truth. The right collar can be a game changer for small dogs with persistent barking issues, but only if you choose one that's sized correctly, uses humane correction methods, and matches your dog's specific triggers. After working with hundreds of vocal small breeds and living with my own terrier mix who thinks every leaf falling is an emergency, I've learned which features actually matter. Now, let's talk about what you should actually look for in a bark collar for small dogs. Shopping for these can feel overwhelming, especially when you're dealing with a 5-pound Yorkie versus a 15-pound Beagle. The wrong fit or correction level can do more harm than good, so let me break down what actually matters. First up, size and weight appropriateness. This is non-negotiable. Small dogs need collars specifically designed for their neck circumference and weight, typically dogs under 25 pounds, though some brands cap it at 15 pounds. I've seen too many people try to use a standard collar on a Maltese, and the contact points don't even reach the skin through all that fur. Or worse, the collar sits too loose and activates randomly. Look for adjustable neck sizes that start around 6 to 7 inches minimum. Most quality small dog collars fit necks from 6 to 15 inches. The collar should sit snug but not tight. You should be able to fit one finger between the collar and your dog's neck. The unit itself needs to be lightweight. Under 2 ounces is ideal, so it doesn't weigh down on their throat or affect their natural movement. Next, correction type and intensity levels. The best bark collars for small dogs use progressive correction, starting with the gentlest method and only escalating if barking continues. The 3 main types are vibration-only, sound or ultrasonic, and static correction. Vibration-only collars buzz against the throat when barking is detected. These work beautifully for sensitive small dogs who startle easily. My terrier responds to vibration alone, which I learned after testing it on my own wrist first. Always a good idea, by the way. Sound or ultrasonic collars emit a high-pitched tone that's unpleasant to dogs, but inaudible or barely noticeable to humans. These are gentler than physical corrections, but less effective for dogs with hearing loss or extremely stubborn personalities. Static correction collars deliver a mild electric pulse. Before you dismiss these entirely, know that modern versions for small dogs are designed with extremely low intensity levels, often starting at levels that feel like a tens unit tingle rather than a shock. The key is multiple adjustable levels, at least 5 to 7 settings, so you can find the absolute minimum that gets your dog's attention. I personally prefer collars that offer combination modes, vibration or beep as a warning, followed by static only if needed. This gives your dog a chance to self-correct before escalation. Moving on to bark detection sensitivity, cheap collars activate when other dogs bark, when you're talking, or when tags jingle. Quality bark detection uses dual sensor technology, combining sound recognition with vibration from the vocal cords to ensure it only triggers when your dog barks. This matters enormously in multi-dog households or apartments with thin walls. Look for adjustable sensitivity settings, usually 5 to 7 levels. Small dogs have higher pitched barks than large breeds, so the collar needs to detect that frequency range accurately. Some of the best models have breed-size specific settings that optimize detection for small dog vocalizations. Safety features and automatic shutoffs are crucial. I'm particular about this after grooming a dachshund who came in with contact point irritation from a collar his owner left on 24/7. Automatic safety shutoffs are essential. The collar should stop correcting after a certain number of activations within a time frame, usually 5 to 7 corrections in 60 to 80 seconds, to prevent overstimulation. Progressive timeout modes are even better. After the shutoff activates, the collar should enter a rest period before reactivating. This prevents obsessive barking from turning into a stress loop where your dog gets more agitated. The American Veterinary Society of Animal Behavior recommends any training tool includes safeguards against overuse, and I completely agree. Also, look for automatic sleep modes that deactivate the collar during quiet periods and reactivate when barking resumes. Battery life and rechargeability matter more than you think. Nothing's more frustrating than a dead collar when you need it most. Rechargeable lithium-ion batteries are the standard now, with most quality collars lasting 7 to 14 days per charge, depending on how often they activate. USB-C charging is becoming more common and charges faster than older micro-USB ports. Some collars include battery indicators, usually LED lights, so you know when to charge. I prefer collars that maintain settings during charging. Some older models reset to factory defaults when powered down, which means reconfiguring sensitivity every time. And finally, water resistance. Even if your small dog isn't a swimmer, you need at least IPX5 or IPX7 water resistance for rain, accidental puddle jumps, and the inevitable water bowl chaos. This doesn't mean fully submersible, though some are, but it should handle wet weather and splashes without shorting out. I learned this the hard way when one of my rescues decided to roll in a muddy ditch while wearing a non-waterproof collar. $200 down the drain, literally. All right, let's get into the specific collars I recommend. The PetSafe Gentle Spray Bark Collar uses a burst of unscented citronella spray instead of static, making it one of the most humane options I've tested. It's designed for dogs 8 pounds and up with neck sizes 6 to 23 inches, and the spray cartridge lasts about 30 to 40 sprays before needing replacement. The collar detects barking through vibration sensors in the contact posts, which sit against the throat, so it only activates when your dog actually vocalizes, not from ambient noise. Check the link below to see the current price. What I like: there's no static shock, just a quick spray that startles without scaring. It has adjustable spray intensity with 2 settings and a replaceable unscented citronella cartridge. It's lightweight at 1.6 ounces including batteries, has simple one-button operation that's easy for less tech-savvy owners, and it's battery-operated with standard replaceable batteries, so no charging needed. The downsides: spray refills add ongoing cost, roughly $12 to $15 for a 2-pack. It's less effective for extremely stubborn barkers who adapt to the spray. Can't be used in freezing temperatures because the spray mechanism freezes, and the citronella smell lingers on fur, which some dogs try to lick off. Next, the Dog Rook Rechargeable Bark Collar offers 7 progressive sensitivity levels and 3 correction modes: beep only, vibration only, or beep plus vibration plus static. It's designed for dogs 10 to 55 pounds with adjustable collar length from 6.5 to 20 inches. I appreciate that it starts with the gentlest option and you manually choose whether to enable static at all, giving you complete control over how it escalates. Check the link below to see the current price. The good stuff: 7 adjustable sensitivity levels let you dial in the perfect detection threshold. 3 correction modes you can customize. Rechargeable battery lasts about 10 to 14 days per charge. IP67 waterproof rating handles rain and splashes. Automatic safety shutoff after 7 corrections in 60 seconds. And it comes with a reflective collar strap included. The not so great:
The contact points are a bit short for fluffier breeds like Pomeranians. The micro USB charging port feels dated compared to USB-C. Static levels might still be too intense for extremely sensitive dogs even at the lowest setting, and the beep is fairly loud, which can startle anxious dogs initially. The Sport Dog No Bark SBC-R uses bark limiter technology with 10 levels of static correction that automatically adjust based on your dog's barking patterns. It's rated for dogs 8 pounds and up, fits neck sizes 5 to 22 inches, and the rechargeable lithium-ion battery lasts 50 to 70 hours per charge. This one's favored by professional trainers I know because it learns your dog's specific bark signature over time. Check the link below to see the current price.
Why it's great? 10 static correction levels with auto-adjusting intensity. Excellent bark detection accuracy thanks to dual sensor technology. Lithium-ion battery lasts 50 to 70 hours between charges. Extremely lightweight at 1.4 ounces. Temperament learning feature adapts to individual dogs. And it comes with a magnetic USB charging cable. The drawbacks? No vibration-only mode. It's static correction or nothing. The auto-adjusting feature can be confusing if you prefer manual control. Contact points occasionally need cleaning to maintain conductivity, and it's at the higher price point compared to basic models. The PetSafe Elite Little Dog Spray Bark Collar is specifically engineered for dogs 8 to 55 pounds and uses adjustable spray intensity with 15 to 30 sprays per refill. Unlike the standard gentle spray model, this elite version includes adjustable spray volume and perfect bark detection technology that distinguishes your dog's bark from environmental sounds with impressive accuracy. I've used this on client dogs during extended grooming sessions when owners drop them off all day, and it's incredibly reliable. Check the link below to see the current price. The pros? Perfect bark technology reduces false activations significantly. Adjustable spray volume gives you 2 intensity options, low or high. Replacement spray refills are interchangeable with other PetSafe spray collars. Fits very small necks starting at 5 inches. Simple 2-button interface is intuitive, and vibration-only mode is available as an alternative to spray. The cons? Spray refills are proprietary to PetSafe, so you can't use generic alternatives. It uses disposable batteries, 6-volt alkaline, rather than rechargeable. The spray sound itself can become a trigger for some anxious dogs, and it's slightly bulkier than pure vibration collars, noticeable on tiny dogs. The MAS-BRILL rechargeable anti-bark collar combines beep, vibration, and adjustable static in one unit with a sensitivity range that works for dogs 6 to 120 pounds, though I'd keep it to dogs 10 pounds and up personally. The standout feature is the smart chip that recognizes barking patterns and adjusts correction automatically, starting at the lowest effective level. The collar strap is silicone-coated nylon that's comfortable and doesn't mat fur, something I notice immediately as a groomer. Check the link below to see the current price. What works? Automatic bark recognition with progressive correction, rechargeable via USB with 10 to 12-day battery life, IP67 waterproof rating for all-weather use, silicone-coated strap prevents fur matting and is easy to clean, 5 adjustable sensitivity levels plus automatic mode, and reflective stitching on the strap for nighttime visibility. What doesn't? The automatic mode sometimes escalates too quickly for my liking. Contact prongs are slightly long for ultra-small breeds under 8 pounds. The indicator light is dim and hard to see in bright outdoor settings, and some users report the vibration mode is quite strong, borderline startling. The Pet Trainer PET998DRB is technically a remote training collar, but it includes an automatic bark mode, specifically for small dogs 10 to 100 pounds with neck sizes 7 to 25 inches. The remote gives you manual control over correction, useful for training beyond just barking, and the automatic bark mode uses vibration detection to activate. I like this for dogs who need bark control plus recall training, since you're getting 2 tools in one. Check the link below to see the current price. The advantages?
dual function with automatic bark mode plus manual remote training, 3 correction types, beep, vibration, static, with 100 adjustable levels, remote range up to 1,000 feet for outdoor training, rechargeable collar and remote that both charge simultaneously, IP67 waterproof collar unit, and security lock prevents accidental button presses on remote. The disadvantages? The remote adds complexity if you only want simple bark control. Contact points need frequent adjustment to maintain proper contact. The learning curve is steeper than single-function bark collars, and static levels can jump dramatically between settings, making fine-tuning tricky. The Dogtra YS300 is a professional-grade option designed for dogs 10 to 35 pounds with neck sizes 9 to 13 inches. It uses vibration recognition coupled with sound sensors for accurate bark detection and offers 10 levels of static correction. This is the collar I'd choose if I were dealing with a truly persistent barker who's failed other methods, because Dogtra's reputation in professional training circles is solid. Check the link below to see the current price. Why I trust it? Exceptional bark detection accuracy with dual sensors. 10 static correction levels let you fine-tune precisely. Rechargeable lithium polymer battery lasts 150 to 200 hours per charge. Compact and lightweight design at 1.1 ounces. 2-year manufacturer warranty and fully waterproof submersible to 25 feet. The limitations? No vibration-only or beep-only mode. It's static correction exclusively. Higher price point than entry-level collars. The 9-inch minimum neck size is too large for toy breeds under 7 pounds, and it requires more initial setup and calibration than plug-and-play models. Finally, the Booznik Dog Shock collar includes both remote training and automatic bark control modes, fitting dogs 8 to 120 pounds with adjustable collar length 7.8 to 27.5 inches. It offers 3 training modes: beep, vibration, shock, with 16 adjustable shock levels. The automatic bark detection mode can be set independently of the remote functions, which is handy if you want bark control at home but manual training during walks. Check the link below to see the current price. The benefits: dual functionality with automatic bark mode plus remote training. 16 shock levels plus separate vibration and beep options. Rechargeable with USB, giving 12 to 15-day battery life on the collar. IP67 waterproof rating. Reflective collar strap for visibility. And it comes with a training guide and multiple contact point sizes. The problems: the remote is unnecessarily complicated if you only need bark control. Contact points require frequent repositioning on active small dogs. The vibration mode is quite intense, almost aggressive for sensitive dogs, and false activations can occur in multi-dog households despite dual sensors. Let me answer some of the most common questions I get about bark collars. Are bark collars cruel for small dogs? Modern bark collars designed specifically for small dogs use humane, progressive correction methods that are not cruel when sized and used correctly. The key is matching the correction type and intensity to your individual dog's temperament and bark triggers. Spray collars, vibration-only models, and low-level static collars rated for small breeds provide just enough interruption to break the barking pattern without causing fear or pain. I've used vibration collars on my own dogs and tested them on myself first. Always a good idea, and when properly calibrated, they're startling rather than painful, similar to someone tapping your shoulder unexpectedly. The cruelty comes from misuse, leaving them on 24/7, using adult dog settings on small breeds, or relying solely on the collar without addressing underlying anxiety or boredom that often triggers excessive barking. Always pair bark collars with positive reinforcement training and environmental management for the most humane approach. How long should a small dog wear an anti-bark collar? A small dog should wear one for a maximum of 8 to 12 hours per day, and ideally only during specific trigger times when barking is most problematic. I recommend removing the collar during sleep, supervised quiet time, and any period when you're actively working on training alternatives. The contact points need to be repositioned every 1 to 2 hours if the collar stays on to prevent pressure sores, something I see occasionally in my grooming shop when owners forget to rotate the collar position. For many small dogs, wearing it just during the day while you're at work or during high-alert evening hours is sufficient. Check your dog's neck daily for any redness, irritation, or fur loss under the contact points. If you notice any skin changes, give your dog at least 24 hours collar-free before resuming use. The collar should be a temporary training aid, not a permanent fixture. Most dogs can transition to wearing it only during problem situations after 2 to 4 weeks of consistent use. Can bark collars make small dogs more anxious? Yes, they can increase anxiety in some small dogs if the correction method is too intense, if the collar is used without addressing the root cause of barking, or if it activates unpredictably due to poor bark detection. This is especially true for dogs who bark from fear, separation anxiety, or environmental stress. I've seen Chihuahuas and toy poodles become more reactive after using collars that escalated too quickly to static correction, because the unpredictable correction created additional stress on top of whatever was triggering the barking initially. That's why I strongly recommend starting with the gentlest correction method your dog responds to. Try vibration or spray before considering static. Also, pair the collar with environmental enrichment, like puzzle toys during trigger times, and counter-conditioning training. If your dog shows increased anxiety symptoms, hiding, decreased appetite, excessive panting, destructive behavior after introducing a bark collar, discontinue use immediately and consult a veterinary behaviorist. Some dogs simply aren't candidates for correction-based bark control and do better with management strategies like white noise machines or desensitization training.
What's the difference between a bark collar and a training collar? A bark collar activates automatically when it detects barking, using sensors to recognize vocal cord vibration and sound, while a training collar requires manual activation via remote control to deliver correction at the exact moment you choose. Bark collars are single-purpose tools designed specifically to interrupt barking behavior without human intervention, making them useful when you can't supervise your dog directly. Training collars, sometimes called e-collars or remote collars, give you control over when and how correction is applied, which is better for teaching specific commands, recall training, or addressing multiple behavior issues beyond barking. Some hybrid models, like the Pet Trainer and Bosnick collars I mentioned earlier, offer both automatic bark detection and manual remote modes, giving you flexibility. For small dogs with persistent barking issues specifically, I prefer dedicated bark collars because the automatic detection is calibrated for that one job and tends to be more accurate. If you're working on broader obedience training in addition to bark control, a hybrid model makes sense. Just remember that the more features a collar has, the more complex it is to set up correctly, and complexity increases the risk of user error. Should I use a bark collar on a puppy under 6 months? No. Bark collars are generally not appropriate for puppies under 6 months old, regardless of breed size. Puppies bark as part of normal development to explore vocalization, get attention, express excitement, and communicate needs. Using correction-based bark control during this critical learning period can suppress normal communication and potentially create fear or anxiety around vocalizing altogether. Instead, focus on teaching bite inhibition, basic commands, and rewarding quiet behavior with high-value training treats during the first 6 months.
Most veterinary behaviorists recommend waiting at least 6 to 8 months of age before considering bark collars, and only if the barking is excessive, persistent, and unresponsive to positive reinforcement training. Even then, start with the most gentle option, vibration only, and use it sparingly. I've raised 4 puppies, 3 of whom came to me as rescues, and every single one went through a loud, obnoxious barking phase that resolved with consistent training, adequate exercise, and structured feeding schedules that reduced demand barking. The puppyhood phase is exactly the wrong time to introduce aversive tools. It's the right time to build communication and trust through positive training methods.
So here's my verdict. The best bark collar for small dogs balances humane correction with effective bark interruption, and it has to fit properly. That last part is non-negotiable. For most small dogs, I'd start with the PetSafe Gentle Spray or Dog-Rook rechargeable models, since they offer gentler correction methods and adjustable settings that let you find the minimum effective level for your individual dog. If you're dealing with a particularly stubborn barker who hasn't responded to spray or vibration alone, the Sport Dog No Bark SBCR or Dogtra YS300 provide reliable static correction with excellent bark detection accuracy. Remember, these collars work best as part of a broader strategy, not as standalone solutions. I use them with my terrier during high trigger times, mail delivery, neighborhood dogs walking past, while simultaneously working on nighttime barking management and impulse control training with treats. Check your dog's neck daily, rotate the collar position, and give regular collar-free breaks. Your small dog's vocal cords are delicate, and so is the trust you've built. Choose tools that honor both.
That wraps up this episode of the Pet Parent Podcast. Thanks for spending this time with me today. We've got new episodes coming your way every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so there's always something fresh. If this episode helped you out or taught you something useful, I'd really appreciate it if you'd leave a 5-star rating and a quick review. It's genuinely one of the best ways to help other pet parents discover the show when they're searching for answers. And hit subscribe or follow so you get a notification the second a new episode drops. I'll catch you in the next one.